Coming to you live from the Weedsport Cartway, the short port in Weedsport, New York. It is Off Track TV. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting edition here from Weedsport, New York. My name is the voice Shane Andrews, and on a beautiful evening, we are here for our Thursday night Thunder portion, the All-Star Shootout for the Cartway here tonight. Kart racers from all over the Northeast converging once again here to Weedsport in a numerous amount of divisions racing for the coveted prizes and trophies on the line this evening as part of our Thursday Night Thunder series. As we always tell everybody, you can always go on Facebook and like us. Make sure you do that at weedsportproductions.com. And if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, and concerns you want to share, all you have to do is shoot them to us at info@weedsportproductions.com. Well, it's already been a busy week for the Big Block Modified Super Dirt Cars Series. Last night at the Big Diamond Raceway, it was the Anthracite Assault number 75 lap feature event. And at the end, it was Super Matt Shepard gracing victory lane down at Big Diamond last night. Stuart Friesen crossed the line in second. Ryan Godown was third. Alex Jankowski was fourth. And Adam Pearson came home in position number 5. The next time the Super Dirt Car Series Big Block Modified Tour takes to the Speedway, it'll actually be right here on Sunday, July 24th, for the annual Hall of Fame 100 for the Super Dirt Car Series as we celebrate the induction of our Hall of Fame for 2022, along with also recognizing the award winners at the Northeast Modified Hall of Fame here at Weedsport. Speaking of that, next Wednesday, July 20th, we will have our 30th annual Northeast Modified Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Don June will be inducted as a Pioneer driver. Craig Von Dohren will be inducted as a driver. And also being inducted is our first guest of the evening. He is joining us from his home down in Sydney, New York, and we want to welcome to the show the newest member of the class of 2022 in the Northeast Modified Hall of Fame, simply known as the Franklin Flyer, Billy Decker. Billy, good evening and welcome to the show.
How you doing?
I can't complain, thanks. How are you tonight?
I'm all right.
Long day at the office, I'm sure, especially after a long night last night at the racetrack.
Yeah, we struggled a little bit last night, had a poor night, so can't wait till Sunday to get the bad taste of the anthracite assault out of our mouth. So, but it looks like you got a little bit going on there tonight with the kart races and going on. So.
Yeah, we do a little bit of kart racing going on. You know, Bill, I always like to know where drivers got their start. Did you ever do any kart racing, or when you were of age and before you had your driver's license or even your driver's license, did you jump right into a full-blown street stock, pure stock? Well, how'd Billy Decker get involved in racing?
That's a funny story, really. We had horses growing up, you know, so because we did logging and stuff with horses, and actually a guy owed my father some money, and he didn't have any money, but he had a race car. And so Dad got that race car, and actually my father-in-law drove it. So started messing around a little bit. Actually, he helped Pete Cortez a little bit at that time, too. And so we started messing around, my brothers and I. And they had this class down at Penn Can and 5 Mile Point, a Tiger class. So we messed around with that a little bit. And then actually my cousin had a car, and I bought a car off of him and won 7 races that year. So... you know, I was a senior in high school that year, getting ready to graduate, so pretty much the race was over, and it was time to go to work. And as it worked out, Jack Johnson had become friends with Dad, and he come down hunting and talked Dad into building me a 320 car. So that's how it all started.
That 320 modified eventually brought you into the Big Block Modified ranks, where you have had unparalleled success over the years. Multiple track championships. What was the transition like from that Tiger class to that 320 Modified back in that time frame?
You know, it's funny. It was a real eye-opener for me. You know, you couldn't get more lost and more naive than I was at the time. And, you know, I can remember going to Fonda that first night with Jack, and we actually walked around the end of the racetrack because at that time, you parked on the infield, and he's telling me a few things or whatever, and I think I got lapped that night or whatever, but, you know, got going pretty good. And, you know, as things developed, started moving around a little bit, and we had a lot of ambition at the time. It was just really a neat time in my life, you know, because back then there was no full-time racer, so it was me and my brother and a bunch of friends of mine, and I can tell you we put on a lot of miles with 4 and 5 guys in the front of a single cab pickup truck, and we had an old horse trailer, and we knocked the box off of it, welded 4 feet on the end of it, so a car would fit on there, and that's what we towed around the country. Coincidentally, you could do 100 miles an hour with that thing, and it wouldn't sway a bit. But we raced, and we wanted to race, and nobody really had any things that had to be done. I didn't have a mortgage payment at the time, didn't have car payments. We didn't have nothing. We just wanted to race and have some fun and work, and that's what we did. And I think that afforded me to continue to move on.
Very humble beginnings, especially when you look back for the driver or the teams that you have driven for over the years. Randy Ross Motorsports, LJL Racing, and now Jeremy Smith. These are high-profile teams from those humble beginnings of when you first started. That probably helped mold you as a driver. Of I need to take care of my equipment, which has landed you those high-profile rides because those guys knew you were going to take care of equipment and put it in the front.
Well, I wrecked my share of them too, but at the time we were developing, and I ran my own race team, and we picked up Wheels as a sponsorship, which I think was a big feather in our cap. You really found out who your enemies were and who your friends were. When we got Wheels, it wasn't worth very much, and thanks to Gail Mitchell, that program developed really well. And then everybody tried to call them and get on that program, but we were fortunate. So, and we won some nice races racing like that, and at that time, you're racing 4 and 5 nights a week, and you don't have the bench that really people have today. You need to race that same car every night. So you really you had to learn how to race and keep the wheels on it and work really hard, or work really, really hard if you had a bad night, So I think that's kind of what molded you in that form. And then growing up in that area, I think the best guys in motorsports, I honestly feel I cut my teeth against the best in the motorsports. The deepest field. If you look at all the guys that were competing at that time, all the top names in dirt motorsports, aside from the 2 that are on the top right now, are there. So you really had to take care of your stuff, and to give you a little background. Things were going pretty good, and as a family company, so I would race during the summer and work for the family business during the winter. And we were getting ready to assume a pretty large debt and expand our company, move it and expand it. And so I had to make a decision on what I was going to do. And you look around and you look at the people around you and where you think you want to land when you're my age now. So I made a decision, and I was fortunate at the time. I'll back up a little bit. We're racing a series race at Canandaigua, and it's just my brother and I. And we had parked next to Mike Jeffries at Weed Sport for a couple of years, and we became friends with all them guys. And there was 2 guys on that program, Scott Jeffrey and Al Zimmerman, Schmo we used to call him. So whenever we went to Ransomville, we'd stop by the farm and have corn and have a cookout. And we got to Canandaigua racing that night. It was like the second or third night of a 5-night weekend, and it was it's all about timing and who was there but Scott and Schmo. And I said, hey, what do you guys think about going and doing a little bit of racing? And Scott was fresh out of college. These guys didn't have any skin in the zipper. He said, sure, we'll go do a little racing. They had ambition and stuff and no responsibilities. So they come down. I remember Scott's mother had to UPS some clothes down for everybody. So that's how the program got going, and we raced and we worked out of my shop for a year or 2, and then when it come time to make that commitment to the family business, Randy Ross was very successful. Him and Matt Quinn and Brian Goey and them guys at Lebanon Valley on a Saturday night, and I think he was looking to do a little bit more, and it just seemed to be a good fit. So along came Randy Ross, and it was a win-win situation. I think I brought some value and some credibility to his program, and Scott was able to grow in my shop as well, as what he brought to the table for the beginning. And then he had a lot on his plate when he went down to Adam Ross cut stone and set up shop. We kind of combined a lot of equipment at the time, and I took the wheel sponsorship money down there, and that program really took off, and we did well. Randy had some good guys hanging around, and that was with him for a long time, and tied that in with Scott and the stuff that we had going for us at the time. A couple other guys come on board and like to hang around, and obviously we won some nice races.
You're a 3-time Super Dirt Series champion. You've won on the mile in the big blocks 4 times. You've got, I believe, 6 wins in the 358 Salute to the Troops 150 at Super Dirt Week. All of those wins have come with Scott Jeffries. What has made the two of you such a potent and strong combination over the years?
I think we just developed together more than anything. I think we bonded pretty good right off the get-go. I won some nice races before Scott got there. We won a couple Lebanon Valley 200s, Rolling Wheels 200. And when Scott came on board, he had a ton of ambition, and he was sharp. He was right out of college. Always had a good head on his shoulders, and had a great work ethic. And so I think it was pretty good when we went to Randy Ross, and we developed and got better there. And as a team, so I think he afforded me the ability to go to work at a family business, work there, and be confident that the details were getting paid attention to, and the cars were prepared correctly, and he worked hard at it. So I think I don't think I had a ton of raw talent. I think some of the success comes through perseverance, and we have had a little bit of a knack of winning extra distance races. And we caught on to a few things that got us some speed at Syracuse and some other places, and got ourselves some really good wins and some nice championships. And I don't mean to keep rattling on or whatever, but I just think we developed together.
I think we could do a whole show just based on you and Scott and the success you have over the years. It's been incredible. Earlier you mentioned that you cut your teeth in a very tough time in dirt modified racing, and some names I'm going to throw out at you. Jack Johnson, Bob McCready, Alan and Danny Johnson, Dave Lape, C.D. Coville, Brett Hearn, all on top of their games when you were coming into your own. Those drivers that I just mentioned are members of the Northeast Modified Hall of Fame, and next Wednesday, your name is going to be added to that list, and your plaque is going to be put up on that wall. How does that make you feel?
It's pretty humbling. It's an honor and it's humbling. I think back, I think that all started, in the garage at my mother and father's house. And, we'd work days and we'd work nights, and spending, you'd go to eat dinner, then you'd go back out in that garage. And I think it was, I think that's where the foundation was laid to my career. And we went through some awful tough times. We had no equipment, we had nothing. And I think that's where, I learned how to race out of that garage. And I think that's where the foundation was that ultimately led me to a lot of other things. And I've been very fortunate to be surrounded by, you mentioned them guys. We went from Randy Ross, we had a ton of success. Went over to Gypsum, and again, I think I brought some value, certainly brought some value and credibility to that program as well, and had some success right out of the box right there, and had plenty of resources so we could do basically whatever we wanted to do. And then drove for Mike Payne for a while, won some nice races, got our picture taken out in Eldora with Mike Payne, and now on to Jeremy Smith. So it's everything's been uphill for me.
Well, Bill, I'll tell you what. I'm going to take my motorsports announcer hat off for just a moment. I'm going to put my race fan hat on. I have had the opportunity to watch you for a number of years behind the wheel of a race car, and I'll tell you what. I've seen you do some incredible things with it, and it has been an absolute pleasure to be a fan of Billy Decker and to watch you do what you have done behind the wheel. And it's an honor and a treat for me to sit here and talk to you, and next week to be able to talk to you at the Hall of Fame again on your induction, because it is such a well-deserved honor. Congratulations.
Shane, I appreciate that, and I appreciate all the fans, and thank you.
Bill, thanks for joining us here tonight. We know you've got a busy schedule. Quality Hardwoods, the family business, everything's going well. I know you're busy. Everything good?
Yeah, everything's good. Yep.
Excellent.
Rock and roll.
Thanks for joining us, Bill, and we'll see you next week. Congratulations.
You got it. Thank you. Have fun tonight.
Thanks, man. Billy Decker, driver of the number 9 Modified Hall of Fame, next Wednesday right here at the Weedsport Speedway grounds. When we return, we're going to talk to another driver who just so happens to be going into the Hall of Fame as well. He's simply known as CVD. When we return right here to Off Track TV.
The greatest show on dirt! Most awesome sight in all motorsports! The world of outlaws! Boss Energy Drink Crit Cars!
Welcome back to Off Track TV live right here at the Weedsport Cartway here tonight for the Thursday night Thunder portion of the Cartway. It is the All-Star Shootout. Some of the kart racers right now running their heat races behind us. As I mentioned, next Wednesday right here at the Northeast Modified Hall of Fame, we will have our induction ceremonies. We already talked about Billy Decker. Don June is our pioneer driver, and joining us right now is another fine driver that has made his way to the Hall of Fame and a well-deserved induction coming up in just 1 week. He is known simply as CVD. He is Craig Von Dohren, and he is joining us right now here on Off Track TV. Craig, good evening and welcome to the show. Great to have you on here. And, you know, you're coming into the Hall of Fame on a bit of a hot streak, if I had to say so myself. 8 wins already in 2022. You're still cranking them out, man. What's the secret?
I always said you surround yourself with good people and, just keep your nose to the grindstone.
And that's exactly what you've been doing. And you race at some of the toughest places in Pennsylvania. That Grandview racetrack, Big Diamond, Georgetown over in Delaware. Those are not easy places to get around. Tell us about the success and why you've been so good there.
Oh, I don't know. We just, they were close to home. We've been racing there for years. We ventured out, obviously, different things. But, Grandview is 20 minutes from home. And, Big Diamond's a little over an hour. And, we have a good teams over the years and good setups. And, again, good people to get us what we got.
I asked Billy Decker what his path to his success was. For the folks up here in central New York and watching on Off Track TV here tonight that aren't as familiar as I am with you, take us through how you got involved in motorsports.
Well, it was funny just listening to Billy there talk. That's exactly, we started in go-karts. I started racing go-karts, I think, when I was 9. And then I turned 16 and we were farming back then and worked all day. I worked all night in the shop. Um, again with the 320, like Billy said, they started with, and those were the motors back then. Big blocks or the 320s, and we just grew from there. Like I said, we worked. We raised hogs and beef cattle and just worked and just kept the night light on to go racing and again we were running 3 nights a week back then. Penn National was running Sundays and um, you know Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all summer long. And I don't know how we did it. I mean, I just think about my parents. I mean, they were my age when we were doing all that, and I know how I feel right now. And we're not even farming anymore. We're just I don't know how they kept going.
I think growing up on a farm and having the responsibilities that you had obviously made you appreciate hard work and commitment. And that's obviously carried over to your racing career with the effort that you have to put into it. So there are a lot of parallels to outside life as compared to racing life, isn't there?
Oh, definitely. It is hard work. It's hard. Racing's hard. Racing's not easy. I mean, people think it is. It's a roller coaster. It's up and down. I mean, my wife, when we were driving home after a win one night, she'll say, "Can't you just enjoy this evening and enjoy your win?" Because I'm already thinking about tomorrow. What we got to do in the morning, what we got to get ready for, and so I'm high strung. I get mad. I do all the emotions sometimes.
I've always said that the word patience and race car driver don't usually go together, but sometimes they have to.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, you need a lot of patience, but you got to be aggressive too. Now, back in the day, we built our own cars, and you learn things as you went. And I said I've stood in victory lane with no right rear shock on the car. And nowadays, if you don't have the right shock, you're on the trailer going home, not qualifying. So things changed, and now there's not a everybody's just buying cars right now and buying motors, and there's good money out there. People are spending money, tires, and keeping after the shock program, and it's hard to find an edge nowadays.
You've had a great edge over your competition for a number of years, though. A multi-time Grandview champion at one of the toughest tracks in Pennsylvania, 12 times, if I'm not mistaken. And you've also won the Big Diamond Track Championship. But the things that jump out to me aren't just the championships, but the Freedom 76 wins and the Forrest Rogers Memorial wins. Those are two very prestigious races that you have actually dominated over the years.
Well, we've won some, and other guys have won up, a fair amount as well. Um, it's been my strong point, Friday and Saturday. But we did a lot down Hagerstown and over in Jersey, and we've gotten around and logged a lot of miles over the years and different tracks and different things. Ventured to New York. I know with Heinemann we were Can-Am. We were leading coming for the checker, and we broke a set of quick change gears, and that's haunted me ever since. We just never got a win in New York, and not that we ran there a whole lot, but we've been there. We've been to Syracuse, and but we just I wish I could have grabbed one somewhere along the way.
You said, at the age of 16, family operation, you got into it and everything. What was the aha moment for you to say, I'm pretty good at this. I think I need to do more of this?
Oh, I don't know. My brother was driving for Glenn and Benita Heinemann, and we had the family stuff with my car, and it just got harder and harder. And my brother was kind of committed to the farm, and so he gave up his ride and asked Glenn if he put me in the car. And we won a bunch of races, and that's how we got going traveling. And I don't know if I realized it then, but as it went on, it just it just became what you did. At the end of the year, you sold your car, you sold your stuff, you built new, you went sponsor hunting, and you went racing, and then the end of that year, you went again, and you made money along the way. It's like Billy said, when we first started out, we were 16. I didn't have a mortgage, I didn't have a car payment, none of that stuff. And then as you get going, and you get that mortgage and you get that car payment, and you think, well, this racing's not bad. I mean, it hurts sometimes when you're leading a race or mechanical failure, but you just got to keep your nose to the grindstone and keep working.
When you look back at what you just mentioned about, starting out, bunch of you in the truck, going out, doing the races, no mortgage, life seemed to be a little simpler. If you could trade that now to go back to that, would you, or do you like the way that things have progressed?
No, I wish we were back in the old days. I personally, this whole social media thing is, there's a lot of people that have a lot of input that don't have 10 cents into your program or anybody else's, and that's hard to swallow sometimes. They just don't. I always said they should just work with me or my crew or anybody's crew for a week and see what's involved in all this. It's more than just buying a case of beer on the way to the track Saturday night. And, it's a lot of hard work. And I wish that end of it would go away.
Boy, I couldn't agree with you more. I don't think any truer words have ever been spoken on this show than those right there. Next week, you're going to be inducted into the Northeast Modified Hall of Fame. There are some incredible drivers that have been put in the Hall of Fame, and you are no different. You are a top-notch driver and a well-deserved honor. How does it make you feel knowing that you're going into a Hall of Fame?
Hard to believe. When I think of, when we raced in the early days with McCready's and the Johnsons and Brett and, Kenny Brightbill and Doug Hoffman and, all those great drivers. And for me to be, included is quite special. I just don't know how Decker didn't get in before this, but I always looked up to Billy. We had a lot of fun back in the days when I drove for Bob Faust and he was with Randy, and, him and Fuller, they've been good to me, and, they're good people.
Well, we might be able to find you two a ride for next Wednesday night. We've got the racetrack right here. Maybe we can do a little match race after the post-race party and everything.
Hell no, he'll kick my ass.
Craig, congratulations on the induction. Look forward to seeing you next Wednesday here at the Hall of Fame. A well-deserved honor. You in the history of modified racing in the Northeast, Craig Von Dohren is one of the names that is always going to jump out and be recognized for the talents in the Keystone State and around the Northeast. And can't wait to see you next week and see your enshrinement here in the Hall of Fame.
All right. Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, Craig. CVD, Craig Von Dohren, joining us here on Off Track TV. I'll tell you what, this is a Hall of Fame show here tonight, race fans. Two great drivers being inducted next Wednesday right here in Weedsport. We have more coming your way in just a moment. We've got to step aside, but we'll be right back with Off Track TV. The Weedsport Speedway, this is one of the coolest things about what I get to do. I might have one of the best seats in the house and when I go to the racetrack and I get to announce and talk about racing, but it's shows like this that I really appreciate because I get to talk to the guys who I literally grew up watching behind the wheel of race cars. And next week, two of them, Billy Decker and Craig Von Dohren, are going to be inducted into the Northeast Modified Hall of Fame. So as a race fan, I got to say, this is pretty damn cool, and I'm really appreciative of the opportunity and the stuff that I get to do. I already told you, Hall of Fame next Wednesday, July 20th. Next Sunday, a week from Sunday, July 24th, the Hall of Fame 100 right here at the Weedsport Speedway for the Super Dirt Car Series Big Block Modifieds. The Empire State Challenge Weekend coming up Saturday, July 30th and Sunday, July 31st here at Weedsport. What is it? It's the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. On Saturday, the 30th, they will be joined by the 358 Modifieds. On Sunday, the 31st, the NOS Energy Drink World of Outlaws Sprint Cars will be joined by the Big Block Modifieds right here. Tickets are available. You can go to worldofoutlaws.com. You can go to weedsportspeedway.com. Get your tickets. You're going to want to be here for this one. It's the only two-day, only appearance of the World of Outlaws Sprints in the state of New York in 2022. Half an hour has gone by. It's that fast. The checkered flag falls once again here on Off Track TV Live. Thank you very much for joining us. For the guys behind the scenes, Don Boshin, Art Rourke, and Brett Moses, thank you very much for making me sound and look good. And a big thanks to our guests, CVD and the Franklin Flyer, and we'll see them next week. For all of us here at Weedsport Speedway and Weedsport Cartway, thank you for watching, and we'll see you at the races.
go hang out on air airbag in my suspension broke.
Didn't that happen when Junction?
Yeah, and I think that's what happened. Now it's kind of cracked. I got to I just got to get the phone and I kind of cobbled it together. I'll know when I get home from school.
Hey everyone, that is it for heat racing. Thank you very much for a good stretch there. We're going to start calling you up at about 8:05 to the junior red feature. We want to be green for features at 8:15. That's in 30 minutes. Take a 30-minute break here. We want to be green for the junior red feature at 8:15.
How's it going? All right. Listen, I would go get you mac and cheese. Katie said no, it's not a full service restaurant. Get your own. Oh, all right. All right? Just so you know. It's in the trailer. Yep. Right behind you, girls. Snap.
The greatest show on dirt. Most awesome sight in all motorsports. The world of outlaws bus energy drink crit cars.
Just a reminder in the pit area, if you rented a transponder at the end of the main events tonight, you will return them at the scales in the pit building. Your rented transponders will be returned to the scales in the pit building. Red Club, let's start bringing them to the building, please. Junior Red Club, let's start closing into the building. And track officials, if you can start heading back to your post here momentarily, please. Let's start heading back, get ready, Junior Red. Let's start bringing them up top, please.
a show on dirt. Most awesome sight in all motorsports. The world of outlaws, Boss Energy Drink Crit Cars.
in the pit area. Last call for concessions. Last call for concessions in the pit area. Again, also, if you rented a transponder, they need to be returned to the pit building. Rented transponders need to be returned to the pit building.
Connor, come this
Dohren.